Dr.Shatha Almutawa. I hold a PhD from the University of Chicago in intellectual history. My research began with a focus on the medieval period, so I worked on the history of ideas in Islam and exchange between Muslims and non-Muslims in communities primarily in Iraq and in Spain. But that was the beginning of my research. I was interested in how these different communities were receiving ideas from ancient Greece, how they were taking the thoughts of Plato and Aristotle and transforming them for their own communities and using them to answer questions of their own time. After that, during my dissertation work at the University of Chicago, I became interested in Islamic philosophical stories and how these stories were used in questions about ethics, how Muslims imagined what is right and wrong, how they communicated philosophical ideas about justice, for example. But after graduating and receiving my PhD and teaching in American universities, I discovered a new interest in the history of ideas, and that is in response to the mainstream misconceptions about Islam that I was seeing in the US and that my students were asking questions about. So I began to do research about the history of ideas about Muslims and where these ideas were coming from, and thinking with the students about why these ideas became dominant. So rejecting these ideas, but not only showing why